Yo, what's good YouTube? Today I want to come out with a Taoqi early game guide because this character is pretty good in my opinion and she's just enjoyable to use. She's another character that I just leveled and I've been using on my team. Like I haven't taken her off my team since I've gotten her. So yeah, I know this is a character that a good amount of people really want it because I mean look at her. I mean she is beautiful and her breast her. I know a good amount of people, if they do pull her, are going to build her because she's obviously one of the few tanks in the game. So but on top of being a tank, you can also run her as a damage dealer if you want. She does a good amount of damage. I was honestly shocked by when I first put on what's it called on my team and I started using her just to put her shields up, and I started using her basic attacks and she was doing a lot of damage, almost as much as my main DPS. But obviously with that, she's also a tank that scales off of defense and gives her team and herself shields, which is obviously massive. So like comboing those two together, it's just insane. But yeah, if you really want to, you could run her as like a main damage dealer slash tank while also running her with a sub DPS, and it's insane. I'll go over her synergies obviously later in the video, but for now I just want to go over her build and how I've been using her. As you can see, I only have her at level 30 out of 40. That's because I'm just waiting to get Marina and my next I'm trying to get Gion obviously, and it's like once I get them, I'm probably gonna take off my team because I do have Panda Girl and I'm just gonna use her as my support because she's my favorite character in the game and I'm probably never gonna take her off my team. But for other people, she's still gonna be good on a good amount of teams and they're still gonna want to use her. So yeah, I guess we're gonna start with her weapons. Her weapons, this is one of the very few characters I actually have her second best in slot. I'm pretty sure this is. I'll probably put up a picture on the screen of like all her best in slot weapons. There's two 3-stars and two 4-stars that are her best in slot. And since she scales off of defense, she's like one of the very few characters in the game where her best in slot isn't the 5-star. So it's like if you're going to use this chick a lot, you don't have to worry about using your 5-star selector since her best in slot is a 4-star weapon. I'll throw the picture up on the screen, but like you can see, her number one is Dauntless Evernight. Like I said, I don't have it, but it's one of the I think it's the only 4-star weapon in her class that's that has defense per set. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong by that, let me know, but I'm pretty sure it's the only one that's why it's her best in slot. Okay, I'm gonna put this in here because while I was editing, I found out that there's a quest that you do, an exploration quest called We Promise We Deliver. I made a short about it, but once you finish that quest, it leads you, I'll put it right here, I'll show you right here. It leads you to the top of this place above this boss. Hold up one sec. It leads you all the way up here. After you do the quest, it's about this boss, and once you defeat him, you just like go on about your day and you wouldn't come back up here and you'll probably forget about it. But once you finish the quest, you go all the way back up here and then the sword will be standing right here, which obviously you're watching this video because of Taoqi, which this is her best in slot weapon, so it's obviously going to be worth to go and do the quest, especially since it gives you a bunch of XP for your main story quest. So yeah, but if you don't have that one, like you can see, the one that I'm running that I got lucky with during pool is Discord, which gives her energy regeneration, which is just obviously always good for characters like this. And then obviously, as you can see, her next best in slot is Origin Type 1, her defense percent that you get from this, and then also restores HP, which is massive. So, and then obviously her next best in slot is ER. So as you can see, it goes defense percent, and if you don't have that, get the ER 4-star, and then if you don't have that, the next defense percent for 3-star, and then once again ER for next 3-star. So yeah, obviously you're going to probably have this one though by just playing around a little bit, by going through an opening chest and just playing the game. So this one you don't have to worry about the 3-stars, just put on this one. But yeah, and then obviously after that we have her echoes. Now this is obviously, like I said earlier, you can run her as a main damage dealer. Her best in slot is, where is it, the clip set, like 5-piece. Obviously I'm not running on her because I have it on my other character that I'm using mostly, but this is her best in slot. Her second best in slot is the other set that I'm running, Moonlight Clouds. It gives energy regeneration, so it's just obviously good. And her second best slot is the full 5 set, so that's, yeah. But obviously if you're not able to run full 5-piece for either of them, you can run 2-piece. It's also pretty good. That's obviously what I'm running here since I don't have the other ones. So, and it works quite well. Having havoc damage bonus on her and energy regen is just always going to be nice. So then I want to go over her main stats. Let me go here, let me show this again because I talked about this in the last guide that I made about this character that has these echoes equipped. But you can see here the cost 3 and how it says cost 10 up here. Once we max out our thing by going around and collecting echoes, you max out your cost to it's going to be 12, I'm pretty sure. So like your main one up here that you're going to have equipped is going to be your cost 4 one. That's going to be your most OP one that you have on the character. And the main stat on that you're going to be aiming for is crit rate and crit damage. And then next two are going to be double 3 cost, and then both of these here that you're gonna put here are going to be both havoc percent damage, and then her 1 cost ones down here are going to be defense percent. Obviously this is an early game, so obviously I don't have any of that. You shouldn't be aiming for that right now either, but I'm just taking for later on so you can get prepared just in case you get like a good piece, you might accidentally throw it away or something. So, and also of all those main stats, the main substats you should be worrying about though are crit rate, crit damage, defense percent, and liberation percent. And after that, the extra ones that you can get just to get some extra damage or whatever is heavy attack percent damage bonus and basic attack damage bonus. And I will say for your main stat, not many people know this, but you can roll your main stat on this piece for crit rate, crit damage, and then you can pull, like let's say you get crit damage as your main stat, you can get crit damage as a substat too, which is insane by the way, so just in case. I will say if you're running this set though, the Moonlight Clouds one, and you should mainly focus, like you should still get crit percent in my opinion, but after that you should mainly focus on getting defense percent, energy regeneration over havoc damage bonus for this set. And if you're running two piece, you can do like a mix and match, especially early game, but just for later on, once again, it's like you can just do havoc damage bonus, defense percent, or energy depending on the build you want to run, but that's not something we're going to focus on until like end game. So, and then yeah, next are her traces, I call them this game, but in this game they're called fortes. But her most important one to focus on is her forte circuit. This is just like whenever you hit an enemy, it grants your team a shield and herself a shield, which obviously, like I said, great. Obviously you're going to need that, especially with the characters I'm going to show you in a second that you're going to run her with, that are going to be very, very important for their kids and how they play. And then her next important part is going to be her resonance skill. It restores an HP and gives you shield, etc. It's just really good also. And then her next one you should focus on is her ultimate, or her resonance liberation, which just does a bunch of havoc damage depending on her defense percent, which is, like I said, that's why I said earlier you should focus on defense percent if you want, depending on the build. So that's why this like could be insane if you build a bunch of defense. So yeah, the next obviously basic attack and her intro skill. Like these two really don't have to worry. Like her basic attack you should definitely level if you're going to like use her as a main DPS, but if not, I wouldn't really say focus on that this much, especially like early game. It's just not worth getting it over like leveling another character's skills that you want to use or going to use. So, and then her intro skill, same thing. The only reason you should level them at least later on if you're going to fully build her is to get these little substats, the havoc damage bonus, which is obviously always going to be good. And then next I want to go over her synergies. I won't pull that up. Okay, so her best in slot for the characters here or Donjin is going to be very, very important. That's why I'm running them together, because they're just really good together, because Donjin does heavy attacks and they're just so good together, because Taoqi always gives her shields, and Donjin obviously is a health drain character, so to do as much damage as possible she needs to be below 60% damage. And obviously with this type of game, this type of combat, that's obviously going to get you killed if you're not safe enough. So obviously running her with Taoqi is just like the perfection, since she's like the only tank in the game. And the next is Beast Guy. I don't really know much about his kit, but he like, it's like there's just so much to go about his kit that I don't really want to get into it, but it's just they're just really good together basically. And the next is Chixia. She works really good with her too, but this is a character that I feel like most people aren't going to build or shouldn't build, because she's just not very good. I made a short about this not that long ago that's like most of the free-to-play characters aren't very good, except for maybe like Baizi. But like even then, if you get a Baizi, you're not going to really use her if you have either Genshin or Verena, because they're just both really good. But Chixia is just bad. Like she's not very good. So, but if you want to build her, then she does work with her. So it's like, why not? And it's like, if you don't have certain characters, Taoqi just running on like a good amount of teams is just going to work, because she's a shielder. She's a defense tank. It's just going to work on most teams because you can just shield and not take damage. So yeah, she's just an overall really good unit. And like if you go like, I don't really care to talk about these because many people obviously in the early game aren't gonna really get them, but like her C1 or E1, whatever it's called in this game, is just insane. You get her power for shield once you pop her forte circuit is increased by 40%, which is just insane. And also if you're running her as a damage dealer, this is also insane. You get crit rate, crit damage just by, yeah, so it's just, yeah, I don't really want to go over them, but I just wanted to put that out because yeah, she's like I said, she's just a really good 4-star unit in the game. That's like, she's the only tank I'm pretty sure in the game. I could be wrong, let me know, but in my opinion she's just very, very high value, especially for like that early to mid game, since people are getting used to the combat and like we're gonna start facing harder bosses while we're leveling, to just get as much material as possible. And like having a shielder slash tank on your team is just going to be so worth. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if y'all got her, if you're building her, and don't forget to like and subscribe.